Welcome, and who, Tom's here. Yes. We'll do our invitation.
Have a break. Father, we thank you for this opportunity to be here today. We thank you for Rotary, for what it means. We thank you for this club, for the members, for those members who are no longer with us. We thank you for the freedoms that we have. This is a very significant day, December the 7th. Thank you for the opportunities we have as part of being the United States of America. We thank you for this food. We thank you for those who prepared it. Pray that you add this to nourishment of our bodies and us to thy service. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All the things we think, say, and do.
It is the truth. It is fair to all concerned. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, Tom.
We have two visiting Rotarians from the Greensboro Club, John Redmond and Carl Ashby. And Bobby Christensen has brought a guest, Charlie Ewell.
Charlie, this is my friend Charlie Ewell. His wife and my wife have been good friends for many years. Charlie recently retired, an anesthesiologist, and finally has some time to do something like this, so he's my guest. Welcome, Charlie.
All right. Dale.
I'm going to review a few things from last week. We didn't have any birthdays, as you well know, but we have some member anniversaries. Both Trotter Cooper and Ralph Jones have their 10th anniversary on November 30th.
Wow.
And this week, we have two birthdays today. And both of these birthday boys are not Mike Conrad and Steve Works.
Save your singing voices.
I have to say in addition.
All right. Since we got a fitness guru today, I wanted to see if I could do a little quick exercise she taught me this morning. If everybody could stand just for 1 second, take a break. All right. Now put out your dominant hand. If you're right-handed or left-handed, just put it out. Everybody got it up? All right. Now do this with your dominant hand. All right. Matt. No. Here are all your bell ringers that aren't signing up yet. Make sure everybody was capable of doing it. Thank you for all your help on that. Guys, if you haven't filled up the second spot and you mentioned how important it was, because I heard a lot of people say it was last week, please do so. We filled it up. We did a great job with them. Salvation Army, they're not having to hire anybody on our behalf, but we do. We heard a lot of concerns and wishes to have a second person there to add for camaraderie and that type of thing. So please do that.
And Ralph, I'll just mention both myself and Lisa are on the Salvation Army board, and they are looking for additional bell ringers. If you're not able to find a slot within Gate City Rotary or would like to do an extra slot, they are actively looking for people. I've taken on 2 other slots because I'm on the board in addition to our Gate City slot. So if you need, if you'd like to, or you have friends, spread the word. Tell them it's, that money that they raise does really good. Thank you.
The Salvation Army website?
Yes, right. Yep. And there's a place to sign up. It tells you every place that they're ringing the bell, and it even has slots on there available to sign up online.
Great idea, but also we could still try to fill ours up. Which is, if you can, at a certain time, that'd be a great option. Any announcements? We've got kind of a slow week, Matthew.
I think everybody just made my announcements for me.
Okay. Good deal, brother. Good deal. Is that it? All right. Well, let's move right on into some Jeopardy. I mean, some. I'm already changing the show. Family Feud here. Let's see. And this will be the last Rotary Feud of the year, 2017. So let's have a good.
Go out strong.
Go out strong. Exactly.
Ralph, I have an announcement.
All right.
Just to remind everybody, next week the meeting is at my house. It's our evening Christmas party, so it's Thursday night, not Thursday morning. Show up here, there'll probably be a few of you can do a makeup, and then customize after. Need to sign up on Sign Up Genius. I think, Kim, is today the deadline to get a head count for food?
We have about 35 in the club that have not responded yet, so if y'all could just respond yes or no to that.
So that's our weekly meeting, and then the following week is the Toys for Tots, and bring a toy. We're gonna do our family meeting. It'll be here. Santa Claus, Santa Busta Claus, and all the performers are gonna be singing. So that's the one where you invite your families. Make sure you sign up for that too, so we get a good head count for the hotel.
Thank you, and thank you to Buster Claus. I was making sure he hadn't retired entirely. He's good to go. All right, so we got a couple big tables here. Oh, you got a small table. Mr. Harrell, and we'll go to the back of the room here. Mr. Andres. All right, you want to pass or play?
We want to play.
This is all related to Christmas. So you want to play in the subcommittee
I feel confident in that.
Name something you hang on the Christmas tree. You still want to play?
Hang on a Christmas tree.
Hang on the Christmas tree. I'm trying to make it easy for them.
How many are there? How many are there?
There are 5 inches.
5.
Yeah, you got this.
Oh, you got that one. Come on, guys.
Probably so. If they miss one, I'm gonna give y'all the points on.
Play.
Okay, play. First hand back.
Christmas tree one.
Ding, ding, ding. Number 2. Sear, shut. All right, Judy. Number 1 answer.
Number 1 answer.
All right. Number 4 answer. I'm making this easy. There's always one. What are you gonna go with? Thank you, Buster.
What was that
He
one?
said star.
The star of what?
Star was not on there. All right, you got lights, ornaments, tinsel. All right, Lisa. A bird. How about you did? Where you found it on there. All right.
So did you guys Angel?
She got
Get it decorated and
A ribbon.
I gave it to them. That's 3. Good try, guys. So you got lights, ornaments, and tinsel. And the last 2 answers were, I thought this was an easy subject, was angel, which nobody would say. No, he said, no. You said it's angel. You said it's angel. Angel, I thought you said rip. You better get out there. And angel, candy cane. Lights were on there. So, Buster, you ready?
Ralph, I got it on film. I can go back and play.
I know, I'm very competitive.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, so the controversy, Ralph, you started this huge controversy. Well, I have a happy dollar. Yesterday, I had the privilege of working with Dennis Marcotte. Is he here?
No.
Dennis, okay, there. And Jim Kennedy. I know he's not here because he's late. He said he was coming, but I didn't see him. And we interviewed 7, 8 candidates for the UNCG scholarship, Rotary scholarship. GTCC, I'm sorry, yes. And it was just this huge privilege to be able to talk to these kids and learn their stories, but also to work with these guys and to be able to tell the story of Gate City Rotary. It was just, they were very impressed with what we do, and it's really a lot of fun.
Buster, thank you for Ralph for lending me $1 to do this. So today at 2 o'clock, I fly out of Raleigh to Boston, and Boston to Dublin, Ireland. Greensboro has got selected as 3 cities to bid on the World Championships of Irish Dancing. It's the largest Irish dancing group in the world. It's been in the United States 2 other times. It's been around since 1934. It would bring 6,000 dancers to Greensboro in the spring of 19. So it's us, Orlando, Florida, and Birmingham, England. So we present Saturday morning, and we think we've got a really good edge, because, you know, Easter at Mickey Mouse's house is very busy and very expensive. So you'll get a kick out of this. When the group from Ireland came over to tell us, you know, to do the site inspection and gave us the formal bid, they kept saying over and over again, "Now you can't run out of Guinness. You can't run out of Guinness. Whatever you do, don't run out of Guinness." So finally we were like, well, you know, what happens? Like everywhere we go, they run out of Guinness. They don't get it. They don't get it. They run out, and then it's delayed, and they can't get it, and everybody gets mad. So Chris Caffey, anybody know Chris? He's our local beer distributor of Guinness. So we got him to do a video. So he stacked up these cases of Guinness beer in his warehouse, and he stood in front of it, and we did a video of him saying, "If Greensboro is selected," this is the last thing we showed for the whole presentation. The last thing he did, "If Greensboro is selected, I vow to you, as the president of IH Cafe, your beer Guinness distributor, you will not run out." Yeah, we're going to dance. That's right. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's true.
How is Kelly involved in Irish dancing?
Oh, you didn't know I did?
I've seen you in the party.
I keep that secret.
All right, Bobby, you're over here talking. Grandpappy Lewis was asleep when I left this morning. Did Grandpappy Christensen have anything?
He told me, he said it could be your sole purpose in life is to serve as a warning.
All right.
That's good, Bobby.
It's been said here before, but they forget.
All right,
That's
guys.
the benefit of having old people here, they forget that actually already been said.
Grandpappy Lewis was asleep this morning. Good morning. Good morning, by the way. That's a great one to share around the breakfast table with your kids too sometimes. Robin Guest is our speaker this morning. Robin is the founder of Our Fit Future. Our Fit Future focuses on serving individuals and companies who are interested in improving health, conditioning, and physical fitness. Robin is a Greensboro native. She went to UNC Wilmington. And at UNC Wilmington, she met her husband and the father of her 5 sons. So I bet that is an active household this time of year. So thank you for getting up early and being with us this morning. Robin got into fitness after the birth of her first son. In fact, I think that was running behind the jogging stroller. And then with the birth of each successive son, got more and more involved with the fitness community, and her passion for fitness and health grew from that. Robin is a trainer. She she instructs those 4 Less Meals programs. She's also a National Academy of Sports Medicine physical trainer, has that designation, and has completed other certifications, well-known certifications as well. So this is a perfect time of year before we head into the holidays of this program. So I introduce to you Robin Guest. Please give her a real
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for that introduction, Jeff. So I saw everybody giving me the eye as you were going through the line, getting the eggs and bacon. And I told you, no judgment on breakfast. It is delicious, so thank you for that as well. So I'm here to talk to you about simple strategies to try and maintain your health during the holidays. So as Chip said, I have 5 kids, so there's an endless amount of running around and during this time of year, and for all of us, the holidays prove to be really busy. So we have everything that exists in our regular life, and then we're adding to that social events and family things and church functions and holiday shopping, which even the online time is kind of stressful, right? I was looking at the dates today that they were listing. This is the last date that you can get them. And so while we have all those extra responsibilities and maybe extra anxieties, it's very easy to kind of let some of the healthy habits that we may maintain with more ease the rest of the year slide due to a busy schedule. So I just want to give you some tips to help you stay on track. Let's see if I can get this to advance for me. All right. As Chip said, I'm a trainer. I'm certified by the National Academy of Sports Medicine, so I work with both individuals and groups on fitness training. I'm also a national coach for Precision Nutrition, which is one of the biggest nutrition coaching companies in the U.S. And what we really focus on with Precision Nutrition is lifestyle changes. So if you walk into the grocery store line, you might see 10 magazine covers that have this fad diet, lose 10 pounds in 5 days by drinking cabbage juice, or the all this diet, or the all pineapple diet. Most of those things come and go. They're fads. They're not sustainable. But we can maintain. We might not look like the person on the front of Men or Women's Health magazine, but we can maintain a healthy body and a healthy lifestyle, which is some small implementation of strategies. So the first one that I want to talk to you about is mindful eating. So especially when we have a million things on our mind. It's Christmas. Where am I supposed to be? Where do I have to take my kids tonight? It's very easy to make your eating multitasking. And what happens when we multitask and eat? The fork just keeps coming up, right? So if there's one thing that you can implement between now and Christmas to really help keep your eating in check, it's just to be present when you're having time for dinner. This is a great time for celebration when we get to gather with friends that we may not others see during our regular time of the year. So being able to sit down and really take time to engage with others when you eat, or even if you're sitting down alone, taking the time to sit instead of eating at the counter or eating behind the steering wheel or in front of your computer at your desk. Being able to check in with your hunger and just kind of figure out where you are. Am I eating because I'm hungry? That's a big one, especially when we're at holiday parties and they have a smorgasbord of treats out in front of us. Are you eating it because you're hungry, or are you eating it because it's just like readily available and right there? So if you can be present with yourself and what's going on with your body when you're eating, try and sit down, enjoy the meal that's in front of you, enjoy the people that you're having it with, and take time to put down the fork in between bites. So maybe you have a little bit more conversation that way. Also, it takes about 20 minutes for the signal to travel from your brain, or from your belly to your brain, to say, I'm full. So if that fork is just in a continuous motion, there's a lot of food that goes down in that 20-minute window between being full and actually being sated. So I encourage you to implement one little trick. When you think you're about 80% of the way there, lay down the fork. We thankfully live in a society where if we're hungry in an hour, there's probably a snack readily available, so you can come back to it. Number 2, portion control. So we can eat anything we want as long as we eat it in moderation. I'll say that again. There's no food that should be eliminated from your diet unless you have a sensitivity to that food. You can eat anything you want as long as you control the portion. So moderation is the key. Now we normally don't travel with measuring cups when we're going to holiday events to try and figure out exactly what the serving size of that sweet potato casserole is, or the turkey that we want to put on the plate, but I want to teach you how to do it with your hand. Okay? So the palm of your hand, and guys, you have a little bit of an advantage here, but the palm of your hand, or another analogy would be a deck of cards, is a serving of protein. This could be 2 eggs, this could be a piece of fish, it could be a small steak, whatever suits your fancy. If you cup your hand like this, so everybody cup, I want you to look at this little bitty area that can fit in your palm. That's a serving of carbohydrates. So that sweet potato casserole, If you were to scoop it into just your palm, the little bit that fits in your hand, there is your serving of sweet potato casserole. You don't get, well, you can use both hands, but you have to account for them. So a big heaping scoopful, as big as I can hold. This would be a serving of vegetables or fruits. Okay? So big scoop, as much as you can grab, fruits and vegetables. This is my favorite one. This is fat. So that's it. This is a serving of cheese or avocado. It's about 12 almonds. So I know, because we want the almonds to be this, right? To be the big scoop. But by being mindful of your portions, and just, it doesn't mean that you have to never have anything more than this little palmful of sweet potato casserole. But if you're not aware of how many little handfuls that you're eating, that's where we let those calories get out of check. So as you're going through a buffet line at the party, think about the big scoopfuls going in your plate first. So the fruit, the vegetables take up a lot of room on your plate, take up a lot of room in your tummy, very low in calories, and then fill in with the rest of the stuff on your plate.
God,
Okay.
it looks like you can just cut that menu in half at Christmas party.
You're concerned about the budget.
All right. Planning is key. So we're running around doing a million things, right? We've got Christmas shopping, and we have the school play after work, and then dinner becomes whatever you can pick up in the drive-thru on your way in between events. I encourage you to take a little bit of time on the weekend just to make a strategy for what the week is going to look like. You're more likely to stay on track with eating well if you have a plan in place. It's when we have too many things going on and food preparation and the quality of what we eat loses its place and our priority. That's when we get into trouble. The other thing goes back to the mindful eating. When we're trying to multitask because we have so many things on our plate, we end up making poor food choices. When we get up early and do an hour of Christmas shopping before we go to work and then run 5 errands and we haven't had anything to eat all day and it's 7 o'clock and we walk in the door and the first thing you see is that bag of chips and you feel like you could eat the hind end out of a mule at full gallop, that's when we make bad choices. So I encourage you to plan ahead. An hour on the weekends to make a grocery list, to make sure that you have some healthy proteins, fruits and vegetables at the ready is going to help you stay on track. Energy balance. So we've talked about kind of how you can, how you can eat what you want to eat, but why should we do it? So energy balance is just having equality between what goes in and our output. So if you're, I think I remember seeing when Michael Phelps was really big in the Olympics that he had to eat the equivalent of like 4 Thanksgiving feasts a day to keep up the calorie needs for his training. So he's in the pool, what, 6-8 hours in between swimming and training a day. Most of us don't have that lifestyle. So the number of calories that go in have to reflect how active we are during our day. If we get out of balance, we're going to gain weight. And that's especially true for most of us during the holidays. There's all the calorie-dense food that's at the ready. There's candy and cookies and parties to go to. Alcohol is a big one on the extra calories that most people consume this time of year. So keeping in mind your portions, keeping in mind making those snacks things that have fewer calories. It's just a simple strategy to help keep your energy in balance. And one last word on the food. I went to that first with this presentation because it really is the most important part, is what you eat. When I work with fitness clients, I tell them 80% of the results that you're going to get in your weight loss goals come from what you do in the kitchen. You can't exercise your way out of a bad diet. And even if exercise your regimen kind of falls by the wayside a little bit to prepare for the healthy holiday season. If you can keep your eating in check, you won't suffer the negative consequences over the short-term period. So as far as trying to have some extra activity, though, to compensate for those calories that we will eat, I want to talk to you about NEAT. And NEAT is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So what does that mean in non-scientific terms? It's just the activity that we get in everything that's not our time at the gym or our time playing a recreational sport. So another way to look at it is just ambulating. So it's moving around. And that could be running errands, that could be shopping, that could be taking a walk. The NEAT, like between two similarly sized people, so look at your buddy that's sitting at the table next to you, there can be a discrepancy of 2,000 calories a day between you and your buddy based on the amount of activity. So we know the people that, and I may have some of these kids living in my house that they think their responsibility is to hold the sofa down so it doesn't like float out into the atmosphere when they're not tasked with doing something. And all of us might feel, overwhelmed at the end of the day and want to have some time to hold down the sofa ourselves. But the difference between spending a couple extra hours a day off the sofa, not at the gym, not dogging on the treadmill or pumping iron, but just moving around is going to have the most significant impact on your overall health. So I'm not telling you that between now and Christmas you need to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to find an extra hour in your day to go to the gym. I'm just saying be active, just a little bit active. Those of us who work on our feet all day, it's a blessing, right? I get to move around all the time. I'm an exception to the rule. So for those of you who are in an office building, what can you do during the day? You can stand part of the day to work. You can take the stairs. You can park further away. I have a lot of my clients set a timer on their watch for every 30 minutes just to make sure that they're getting up from the computer, walking around, doing a couple stretches. Just those little bits of activity, as they accumulate, are going to help increase your NEAT value. Also, during your workday, getting up and moving around a little bit gives more oxygen to your brain, so you're actually going to be more productive while you're at work. So for this time of year, what are some things that you can do to increase your NEAT? I'm thinking these are things that we all have to do right now. Household cleaning, 200 to 300 calories. Note that vigorous household cleaning burns up to 500 calories an hour. So if you had a big party and you're having to clean up afterwards, maybe you can burn off the calories that you ate just by having to scrub up. So dancing. Maybe we have a little bit of liquid courage, get out on the dance floor. So 200 to 400 calories an hour, shoveling snow. It could happen Saturday, maybe, maybe not. Walking, cooking, raking. And we did this past weekend. So moving the household items, are you carrying the boxes and the presents around the house and moving them around? 600 calories an hour. Carry all the boxes upstairs to hide the presents in the attic. We're up to 775. So these are all things, good calorie burners, things that you can easily do and add to your day, just to increase that NEAT value, increase your activity level, help you to deal with the extra calories that you're consuming at the holidays. So is that too overwhelming? Does anybody feel? Okay. Anybody feel guilty about or overwhelmed by this? So no big deal, right? No. To kind of recap, I do not prescribe that you should be on any special diet, that you should pass on all the holiday sweets or the treats or even the alcohol. But make healthy choices. Think about that big scoop first of fruits and vegetables, having things at the ready to supplement you when you're on the run. So, and then just being a little bit more active. Try and stay off the sofa. Go take a walk, go carry some gifts upstairs, and you'll be able to keep yourself in check over the holidays. So, and now I just wanted to open myself up while I'm here to questions. Yes.
Okay, so the handful thing.
Uh-huh.
As ridiculous as that is, but if I don't have a Rotary breakfast, does my handful from breakfast get to transfer to lunch? And if I have a really light lunch, can I really just pack it in on dinner?
So, it depends on, do you have a stomach of steel? I can't eat anything after about 7 o'clock without regretting it later. But it's the energy balance, so energy in, energy out. Now, if we were training you for an athletic event, would nutrient timing be important? Absolutely. As long as you're getting what you need at some point during the day, you're still in good shape.
I'm always in training, so yeah.
Yes?
What about walking when I play golf?
That's excellent.
How much does that?
So, and are you carrying your bag too?
Oh, I can't do that, but I do have a push bike.
So that's excellent. That's walking. Well, if you're on a mission, right,
Yeah.
and you're not having
You're
too
not
much fun with
constantly
your
walking,
buddies,
but-
right, that would still fall within walking at a moderate pace. So 200 to 300 calories an hour. It drops down a little bit, you know, if you're walking really slow and like hanging out. But otherwise, yeah, that's a great way. Yes.
Two things. What about carrying your bag and playing with a guy that hits it all over the place?
Yeah, high handicappers are healthier.
That's definitely your friend increasing your needs or trying to help you.
The second thing is, what do you feel like is the right balance between resistance training and cardio as far as maintaining or achieving, really healthy?
So the best thing that's a great question. The best thing that we can do to increase our metabolism is resistance training. So when you do resistance training, you build lean muscle mass. In order for your body to maintain that lean muscle mass, your metabolism has to run at a higher rate to fuel those muscles. So I would put strength training at the very top of the priority list. Also for women over 35, bone density is a huge issue. Resistance training is what's going to help us maintain our bone density. After 35, it starts to wane. So if you want to stay strong bones, and continue to raise your metabolism, strength training is absolutely at the top of the list. To speak a little bit about cardio, cardiovascular health is really important, but we've learned so much in this industry in the past 10 years. A decade ago, it was said that cardiovascular health, or what you should do to promote your cardiovascular health, was get on that treadmill or elliptical machine and get at your 70% fat burning zone and just go and go and go, 30, 60, 90 minutes. We now know that that is not the best way to train your heart.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness. I remember that. So cardiovascular health is your body's ability to lower your heart rate once it's been raised. And back when we were all cavemen and running from saber-toothed tigers and living in caves, the way that we achieved that health was to run away from the saber-toothed tiger, right? And then you either get caught and, so long, or you get away. Our body is still set up on that same enzymatic system. So when there's a stressor, your stressor could be your treadmill, or you're chasing your dog who got out, or whatever, and you race to get that heart rate up, your body releases a flood of hormones. That's your stress response. Well, then when you stop, it releases, and you catch the dog, or if you were a caveman, you get away from the saber-toothed tiger, that hormone cycle goes back to the baseline. It gives your body a chance to reset, your heart rate lowers, it increases serotonin and those other feel-good hormones in your brain, and you go back down here. So the old school of thought with cardio training, or spending all that time on the treadmill, was to elevate the heart rate and keep it up. So when we elevate the heart rate, that our body's hormone response is, oh my God, there's something chasing us. So it's not the fastest saber-toothed tiger, right? But it just will not leave us alone. And by continuing to keep that heart rate elevated for a long period of time on a hormonal level, we're actually doing more damage than good. So to go back to that training philosophy, like with the food, if you were an athlete training for a major event, nutrient timing and exactly when I fed you what would be really important. For the majority of us, it's not. If you're an endurance athlete, and I work with people who do Ironmans and the ultra Ironmans and long distance races, if that's your love and your passion and you need to train for your sport specifically, then so be it. But for the most of us who are out there running because we're trying to maintain our health, or hopefully nothing is chasing us, right? We no longer need this plane of low intent. Yeah, we need to do this. You need to run away from the tiger, and then you need to rest. So when you think about that cardiovascular training, getting your heart rate can even happen getting it up and elevated to where it needs to be can happen with your resistance training, and then you're killing two birds with one stone.
Robin, I heard it didn't matter how fast you ran when there's a saber-toothed tiger chasing you, as long as you're faster than the other guy.
Yes, that's a great point, as long as you're not the slowest.
You threw me a curveball about the almonds. What do you recommend for a healthy snack? I had heard nuts were a good thing to have.
Nuts are a wonderful thing to have.
But the fat content, talk about that.
So,
Because if
this
you
is a
need
certain
more than
fast-
that, if you think you need more than a
If you
snack.
think you need more than, if you think that you need more than a snack, then you probably need to find something that's not quite as nutrient dense. If you're starving, like I said, and I get this way, I'll be with clients all day long and I haven't had time to put a bite of food in my mouth. But if the first thing I reach for is almonds.
But not
I'm
potato
gonna-
chips?
But not potato, we don't have potato chips in the house. I'm gonna overeat for that food group because while it's not a whole lot, it's very nutrient dense. So when you get to that point of being really hungry and you're grabbing for a snack, grab an apple, grab some celery, grab something that's a little bit lighter in calories so you have more volume for what you're getting. And save this one for when you can really enjoy it. Somebody, yes?
Relative to the heart health, how important is it for you to know your LDL, HDL balance, your cholesterol, and be able to control that with eating habits?
You can do a lot to control that. We're learning more about cholesterol now. We know that having cholesterol, high cholesterol isn't necessarily bad for everyone because there are different types of cholesterol. There's the kind that makes the yucky plaque that sticks to the inside of the walls of your arteries, and then there's the kind that doesn't. And some people can have high blood cholesterol without having plaque. So there's a lot of research just in the past couple of years that shows that the way that your body, actually the molecular chain that your body makes of cholesterol is unique to you and is based on your genetics. So there's some things that you can control over limiting the amount of saturated fats in your diet that can influence your cholesterol. The other thing that we have to remember with cholesterol, forever there was that low fat, no fat, we're not going to eat eggs, you can't have shellfish anymore. And science has done this huge flip-flop on that, and that's no longer the case. What we know now is that think of your liver as being the powerhouse, that when your food comes in and you digest and everything goes to the liver to have to be kind of regulated and distributed for how energy is going to be stored and used. When we have too much sugar in our body and it gets to the liver, your liver says, what am I going to do with all this? So I can only put so much in reserves and muscles in the form of glycogen, which is our stored sugars. It's kind of like the gas in your tank. There's only so much your liver says, okay, I can use this right now. This is my available energy in the bloodstream. What am I going to do with all the rest of this energy? Well, I'm going to store it as fat. So you don't have to eat fat to have stored fat. In fact, the biggest culprit in our Western diet for having stored fat is sugar. All right, Ian.
All right, so I like the part you talk about mindful eating, and it made me think about when a lot of us have, if you have to sit in front of your computer all day or whatever, kind of like a mindful seating, you went over, what's a good thing that people can do while they're sitting in their desk if they're not able to just jump up and, walk around every so often? You got any recommendations?
No, that's great. So with eating, and if you have to eat at your desk, turn the computer off. Turn some music on. Try not to be engaged in email or something that is taking up the majority of your conscious thought, because the fork will keep going on repeat. And if you can't get away from your desk, simply stand up and stretch. There's a world of good that comes from just a few minutes of breathing. They've proven that 2-minute increments of deep breathing can lower your heart rate, it can lower your blood pressure, it can improve cognitive thinking skills, and reduce overall feelings of anxiety and stress. So even if you can't break out of the office, if you can give yourself a 2-minute break just to stand up, stretch. Yes?
Can you talk about supplements, ones that you would say are, there's a lot out there, omega-3s,
Is there any one in particular?
One that you like or not like? Vitamin C, do you think that's a good thing? Vitamins in general?
So, for the majority of supplements, we just don't absorb them readily. So you can take all these really, really fancy pills, but because they're not in a form that's readily available to your body, they just kind of go in and go right back out. So you're literally flushing money. As far as what specific supplements you need, it's really based on a person's individual makeup. It's based on your diet. So if there are some things that you're truly lacking, I have people who, endurance athletes in particular, who train for long bouts and easily become more dehydrated than you and I might if we're not on that kind of training regimen, that might need to supplement with magnesium. Because as we sweat, we not only lose water, but we lose salts, and without having that proper balance of electrolytes, you can easily have muscle cramping. So that might be one if you're an endurance athlete that you use. But if there's a specific supplement that you'd like me to speak to, I can. But I would encourage you, mainly for the vitamins and minerals that you need, those are best absorbed by our body when they come from the food that we eat.
What about for strength training, mass building, any supplements?
Mass building. So we're going to get to the protein. The protein. So if you are going to supplement with protein, and absolutely people who are working on strength training and busy, we have a window of time after you finish your strength training. It's called your anabolic window, and it's 90 minutes long on average. And if you can get a healthy dose of protein and carbohydrates in right after that workout, you are going to speed up your body's recovery process. So in that case, a lot of folks turn to a protein shake after they work out just for the sake of convenience. When you look at all the wonderful deals that they have at Costco or at BJ's or Walmart, and you're like, oh, I can get so much protein, for this low price, you really are going to see the results of the quality of what you put in. So if you want quality results, you need to find a quality product if you're going to supplement. I would encourage you to stay away from whey concentrate products. For a lot of us, they're not easily digestible, so it's more likely to cause you tummy upset. If you're looking for a whey-based protein supplement, I encourage you to look for something that is a whey isolate. If you don't like whey, there are a lot of egg white-based supplements on the market now. Or if you want to stay on the plant-based side, pea and rice proteins are great. Don't touch soy. No soy. Yes?
For us older folk here, glucosamine and chondroitin, is there any updates to those as far as their benefits?
So that has been one of those mixed bags. I think there are probably studies or case studies that show efficacy with that and some that do not. Another hot topic right now for joint pain and health in older populations is turmeric. And again, while we have kind of circumstantial evidence with case studies that show that some people benefit from the anti-inflammatory values of turmeric, it might be for you and it might not. Out of a pool of maybe 50 people that I have that have experimented with the supplement, maybe 25 to 30% of those have seen a noticeable difference.
Thank you so much, Robin.
Yeah.
I've known Robin for a long time.